Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is set to introduce over 8 new characters in this story by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio, as well as creator George Lucas, that is all set in order to benefit many of the characters like Rey and Kylo Ren in this story. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that by far, one of the more interesting new characters that's coming into play here for Episode 9 is the new villain that's going to test both Kylo and Rey's limits in the third act of this movie, as well as forcing the alliance between both Rey and Kylo to take down the greatest evil, this new threat in this movie. Now, what's really intriguing about all of this is that these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for one of the set leaks as well between both Kylo Ren and the new villain. Now, specifically, it's described that one of the scenes that were shot during the month of January of this year involved Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, and the unnamed actor who portrays the new villain in the film, that is said to be portrayed by Matt Smith as the Dark Acolyte. It's described that one of the complex scenes that were filmed between the three involved tons of wire work, where one of the sequences involved a difficult acrobatic performance of the new villain using a lightsaber against Adam as Kylo Ren. It said that during the sequence, the costume design of the new villain was dubbed as Vance Rislow McCaw _ Type 2-303 outfit. It said that the fight between Kylo and Vance is so intense that it is said to be just as fast-paced as the fight between both Anakin and Obi-Wan at times from Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, where the whole set used pyrotechnics to create tons of fire around Kylo and Vance at one point in time. Now, the scenery is said to be hellish for a moment in this scene, as Kylo and Vance fight to the death while Vance slowly transforms more and more into Darth Sidious by his spirit. So let's go over a couple of parts about this and why this is very intriguing, not just for the Star Wars community, but also for Star Wars lore as a whole and where things are really going for Episode 9. So what's really exciting about this is that we do know that there is going to be a new villain in this film that is going to act as just the new villain in the second into the beginning of the third act of Episode 9, where as the fight progresses, the spirit of Sidious that takes over the body of the Dark Acolyte begins to look more and more like Sidious himself, and even begins to sound more like Palpatine. So the Dark Acolyte and his power is essentially fueled by the spirit of Sidious, and it has split personalities in a sense. It's going to be one new villain, and then you have, of course, the return of Palpatine by using this host body. That's where Ian McDiarmid's performance eventually comes into play here, where he was actually used on set to go up against both Kylo Ren and Rey, portrayed by Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley. Let's go over the name of this new villain. Now, the actual costume design of this character is dubbed as Vance Rislow McCaw. So VanceRizlo MIKAW _ Type 2-303 outfit. Now, I'm not quite sure what the Type 2-303 is in reference to. It could have something to do with maybe different attempts at creating an outfit, for all we know. We're not quite sure. But other than that, this scene was actually set to use tons of pyrotechnics and a lot of wire work for intense acrobatic sequences between both Kylo Ren and the new villain known as Vance. Now, what I like about this is that it's actually said that this character is being portrayed by Matt Smith. Now, we've heard this for months on end, almost an entire year now. You guys may recall that it was last July when we first heard that J.J. Abrams chose Matt Smith to start filming for Episode 9. So, with that being said, we do know that Episode 9 is going to offer a lot of revelations in this film, a lot of unexpected sequences that are really going to change Star Wars lore and how the fans look at the Star Wars franchise. And I think that by Disney and Lucasfilm doing this, it really is a big risk. Now, when we look at the spirit of Sidious and how that's going to be used in this film, I think a lot of fans are going to enjoy this. For those, who are really in tune with Star Wars Legends, you are all aware about Star Wars Dark Empire and what a great story it really was. In my point of view, that storyline really is by far the strongest point of the Star Wars EU, in my opinion, as far as the comics go. So, when we look at everything else related to Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, we do know that this villain really is going to harness the power of a power that's stronger than the dark and the light itself, since his origins come from the Beyond. Take note about the Acolytes of the Beyond, and he is indeed one of the Dark Acolytes, if not the strongest Dark Acolyte at that. And that's exactly why Palpatine's spirit takes over that particular body. So, that's very interesting stuff for Episode 9, because we are only now 4 months and change away from this film. Once we hit the 19th of August, we are officially just 4 months flat away from release, and that's where the marketing really comes into full swing. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.